High Grade Healing with Akeem Pierre, turning passions into profits. Thank you guys for joining us today. Listen, Akeem is he vibrates on the highest level in which a human can vibrate on. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, he's energetic, he's positive, he's an extreme optimist. He just creates things and speaks them into existence. He's a beautiful person and someone that has gone deep into the world of nutrition, health, wellness, but from a holistic standpoint. Somebody that has really gone deep into his own layers of psychology and then actually tried to figure out, what makes me happy, what makes me healthy, what is wellness really, what is meditation, what are the actual benefits of that, what are the natural things from the world, from the earth that are going to do my body well, and how can I create experiences for humans and for my people to go to other places and really live in the experience of healing. So we talked about everything from Seamoss, again, health and wellness, entrepreneurship, fitness, basketball, his own personal journey. Enjoy. So Akeem, you just got back from a trip, which I'll let you explain because I don't even know, and all I see is what I see on social. Mm-hmm. What's on your mind? What's on the tip of your thought these days here in 2020? What's going on with you?
For me, 2020 is abundance now.
Yes,
is really the mindset moving forward, and it's really a continuation of abundance now, and just realizing that if we wait for the thing to come before we feel that abundance or we feel good, then it's really not going to come. Or when it does come, we're going to reflect it and not be able to receive it. So just like opening up your being, yourself to receive and get all that abundance because you have everything that you need.
The universe is infinite, my friend. Mm-hmm. The universe is infinite, my friend. What do you care if another Irish Seamoss competitor comes up? There's customers for me, there's customers for you, there's Seamoss for me, there's Seamoss for you, whatever it may be, right? Mm-hmm. Who cares if someone else is doing retreats? Listen, that's more better. It's all good. It's all good. So what was this trip you just went on? What are you up to? I see you going to these places with these amazing people doing amazing things. They just look like a vibe and intense, great energy and healing energy. What is it, man? What is it?
Yeah, so we were just in St. Lucia for a couple of weeks.
Context. Where is St. Lucia for those that don't know?
St. Lucia is in the southeastern portion of the Caribbean,
right? Closer
to Trinidad. So like we see Jamaica, Cuba is like more in the northwestern part of it. St. Lucia is like in that hidden corner of the Caribbean, where it's like mostly high class, like exclusive travel, honeymoons and things like that. Oh. But we were there for our retreat, a journey beyond wellness, which is a retreat, because we're not retreating, like we're not having to leave or escape our life, but we're retreating ourselves. We're learning how to treat ourselves again, or we're retreating within and we're releasing all the distractions and then retreating within and learning how to retreat ourselves because somewhere along the way, we lost it, right?
We stopped treating ourselves.
Yeah. So I was at that retreat and that was our third one. And then I also import products from St. Lucia and like my family's out there. So like we did it all really.
Are you from St. Lucia?
My father is from St. Lucia.
Wow. Yeah. Uh-huh. Do you know Keo Guevara?
No.
Oh my gosh. Mm-mm. Keo Guevara is a hip hop artist that what used to be signed to Classified's Half-Life Records, and he's just like a crazy artist, but he's from St. Lucia.
Really?
Yeah. Oh man, that's super crazy. He's right in that kind of like, artists are kind of like, I don't know what they call it. It's like pre-famous. Yeah. Like artists are in that like
come up.
They have a buzz, and they're really moving, and maybe they're signed to a label you don't know. Yeah. But he's from St. Lucia. He makes some of the most beautiful music like ever. He's like one of my favorite artists, legitimately. Okay. I'll link you. I'll link you 100%.
Like, we want to build up St. Lucia as a place like the place to go, and a lot of whatever's coming out there to we all band up and get together. So gotta link us up.
I love it. He's got a song called Winter in St. Lucia. It's my top 10 songs.
You see? Okay.
I'm not kidding. Like for no purposes of
Epic.
of this. Hey Kev, my computer just froze. You wanna hit that?
Thank you, man. Yeah, he legitimately one of my favorite artists. So St. Lucia, connection there, cool. That's where the Seamoss comes from. We'll get to the Seamoss in a second. We'll get to the health and wellness in a second. But so these retreats, okay, retreating yourself. Okay, how did that come together? What was the origin story of that? And obviously there's a connection to St. Lucia, but you wouldn't just go there simply because you're from there. There's obviously properties there that you go to, you know, to bring out, right?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I have a cousin out there who's like one of the world leaders as a natural healer. Or just a healer from the indigenous parts of the world using the ancient healing, right? So my cousin is from there and he's this healer, but I didn't know anything about him up until 4 years ago. And 4 years ago, I came back from Colombia and I was just talking with my dad, like, hey, Dad, like I went here, I had all these fruits and I was sharing how much more interested I am in health and wellness now. And he was like, you got a cousin in St. Lucia who's like the master at this, right? So he brought me upstairs, showed me my cousin's book and was like, yeah, he's got all the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And so that's how I first found out about my cousin who was in St. Lucia. And then about 3 years ago, I got a call from my cousin that I grew up with in Calgary. And he was like, yo, I'm in St. Lucia and I'm with my cousin. I'm with Priest Kailash is his name. I'm with Priest Kailash. And like, he was just like hyping it up to me so much.
Priest Kailash.
Yeah.
Damn.
So he was hyping it up to me so much and just like showing me. Then I was like, I gotta go check it out because at this time I was doing a lot of learning myself and discovering and like, you know, just working on getting all that information and then embodying it. So I was on the search for teachers and mentors and, you know, people who can show me something. And he was one. So then I'd watch his videos on YouTube for some time. And then I just ended up taking a flight. I had a little bit of time in my schedule. I took a flight, ended up in St. Lucia. And I
washed ashore,
you know, and I was staying with my sister up in like the southern part of the island. And I couldn't get a hold of my cousin. I was like,
how big is the island?
It's probably like 2 hours you can drive top to bottom. So small. Right. I was like, I couldn't get a hold of him. I was like, I'm not going to see him.
Wow.
But I tried. And then it was Sunday. I was just walking around. I left my phone at home because I'm like, there's no reason to have a phone really anyways, right?
Right.
And then I go to my aunt's house, his mother's house, and he called her and he was looking for me.
Oh, no way.
Yeah. And then that night I ended up on his TV show and then I went to his land, which is the Rejuvenation Center where we host our retreats. So I got this experience where I went through this for 4 or 5 days myself. And I was like, man, I want to share this with others. Like, that's really it. I had the greatest time on my own. I was like, you know, this is something that the world needs to see. And I was like really aware of, you know, when you find something of value, you really want to share it. And I'm really aware of how we as humans, we don't want to show love while the person is alive, or if no one else is showing love, we're going to wait, or we're going to wait till they're gone, or we're going to wait until other hype brings it up. I was like, no, we got to do it.
Love it now.
And then, so that was just my mission, my focus. And a couple years later, we hosted 3 retreats now.
Wow.
And yes.
So I'm curious on what that experience was for you. Like when you went there, obviously there's a family connection, but when you went there, what was your experience like? What was that about?
To put it in context, there's a lot of talk about Rastas and Rastafari, right? But we don't really know that there's a lot of different sects or houses in the tradition, right? Right. So my cousin is from the Bobo Shanti order.
Damn.
And they're like the strictest of the strict. So for example, they don't eat mangoes because the energy of it is lustful.
No.
Right?
Mango's my favorite fruit.
You know, me too, right?
Oh, no.
So they don't eat cucumbers because it's a vine and it's parasitic. It holds on to things, right? So they're like the strictest. So
they don't eat cucumbers because it's a vine?
Yeah, like anything that's a vine. So no squash, no passion fruit, no like anything that's a vine, they don't eat it. So it was like a shock to me of like experiencing this culture. And I went there the night and my cousin came to me at the bottom of the hill. It's like so dark. He lives at the top. He came to the bottom and he just asked me like, you want to make money or do you want to heal people?
Wow.
And then I was like, I want to heal people.
Yeah.
Right. Then he's like, well, if you want to heal people, you got to make money because the more good you want to do, the more money you're going to need to be able to maneuver and get through the barriers that are going to come into your way.
Yeah.
So it was basically like
Damn.
those next couple of days were like a mini boot camp, and to like getting me into the mindset, tuning me into the energy and the vibes that they have going on out there. And yeah, really just taking it all in.
The way of thinking.
The way of thinking.
Right,
even the food, how they cook. They have children, so like how they interact with the children, just learning so much from the children themselves.
Right.
And yeah, just really taking it all in and doing the detox myself. So I did his detox program for the first time when I was out there, and there's something called the free up laxative. And I was in St. Lucia for like 5 or 6 days up until going to that
point.
That mountain, right? And I was basically just eating fruits, like light,
lots of mangoes,
so clean, and, there's so many mangoes. And I go there and I take this laxative, and there's so much coming out of me. I'm like, it opened my eyes of like, how much junk do we have stored in us from previous life?
Toxic.
So that would really just open up my eyes of how much toxins and how much we're holding in us. That's
crazy. Okay, so it's they're teaching a way of life. They're teaching a way of interacting with the things around you. They're teaching a nature, like there's human nature, but then there's the nature of humans, and different humans have specific natures to their cultures, and some are, they just vary in their methodologies, right? And how they interact with the world around them. And so in this religion, in this way of thinking, so this retreat is both health and wellness in that it's a detoxification. Yeah. And it's it kind of implementing new, I don't want to say like nutrition systems or anything like that, but just a new way of thinking about food, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
But it's also teaching a new way of interacting with the things around you. Like, I'm really interested. You said they have a certain way of like dealing with kids, a certain way of dealing with food preparation, a certain way of like expand on that. I'm so curious about that. It's so interesting to me to see and observe cultures.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Like every time I go out there, I still learn. Yeah. But it's like, so for example, they don't say kids, they say children, right? Because a kid is a baby goat, right?
Okay.
So they're just really intentional with the words that they use. So it's not hello, for example. They're not going to say hello. They're going to say blessed love. Right? They're not going to say like even thank you, right? Give thanks. Like give thanks because it's not you, it's our co-creation of us coming together that made it happen.
One, yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's not thank you. There's no you, it's I and I. So there's on that level. And then just like a level of intention that is unmatched. Like for example of like when you're like blessing your water.
Okay.
Right? Before you feast, and like using the word feast, for example, is like that.
Right.
Mindful of the colors. If you ever prepare or touch food to be like thinking love,
Right.
Charging that food up, right?
Yeah.
And for example, my cousin, he won't eat after certain people that he doesn't know.
Wow.
Like he won't eat if they cooked. So on the retreat, he was like, I would allow y'all to come in. We're doing coconut milk, right? You have to hand squeeze the coconut milk. He's like, I would say you can come up and do it, but I'm going to have some of this. So I don't want you to come and drink to make it. So like just the next level of intention and just aware of that energy. And
that's crazy. I've experienced that before, and I took it the wrong way. I experienced that in Haiti one time when someone was preparing food.
Yeah.
And they literally they made too much food, and it was for me and my uncle. And they're like, no, they're not going to eat after you because they don't trust you. And I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
But that's exactly what it is. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what it is. Like they don't understand the relationship. They don't know that it comes from a place of love.
Exactly.
Right? It's like, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. I love that level of intention. So there's an interaction with the food. There's an interaction with language. Hello. Wow. Never thought about that. And now I'm tripping. What do I do now? Hey, I don't know if I'm feeling hey. Hi seems it's a little distant. I like to be a little warmer.
Yeah.
How do you greet people? Greetings, my friend. It's like it's greetings. That's it. Damn. Okay.
So then,
the
even
language is
looking
different.
at that, right? There's like in meditation they call it like a pause, like that sacred pause before you react, right?
Of course.
So with this language, there's like a pause built into your lifestyle by the language that you utilize.
Wow.
So for example, if I'm saying blessed love as a greeting, right? Blessed love, I'm saying blessed love. That's pausing me. So if I were to interact with someone and I felt some kind of hatred or anger, disgust, dislike, once I say blessed love, I like, whoa, that doesn't match. Those frequencies don't match. So then I either gotta be able to lie to myself or like, no, it's not a blessed love, but keep going. Or I gotta like get in tune, you know?
Yeah.
So I find
you have to make a conscious choice.
Yeah. So
rather
it's
than a
just that
reaction.
choice. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, between the stimulus and the reaction lies our life, right? It's between that is where we make every decision, and that's how we interact with the world around us, man. That's so crazy. So that's crazy. What was I listening to? Was it today? I was listening to a guided meditation that was like, the world hardens us, like our environments tend to act like a freezer, and we become like ice, we become rigid, we become stuck in our ways, and we're not water, we're not fluid, we're not steam, we're not energy, in this weird way. And they were talking about how you need to find cues in the world to like create a pause. Yeah. Whenever so whether it's hearing like laughter, or seeing a stoplight go from yellow to red, or hearing a door creak. There's like little very distinct things that you can then create a pause. Yeah. And like literally remember to breathe. Because we forget to breathe all the time, right? Yeah. I love that stuff. Like you need sit like I'm at this weird intersection of like spirituality and philosophy. Yeah. But I'm like, I need some tactical to this. Yeah. And so I love that type of stuff. Like, hey, we'll build systems to be mindful. I'm like, yeah, there we go. Now we're talking, my friend. That's what's up. So that's beautiful. You said a kid is a goat. You said kid is a baby goat. Yeah. And they call their children. Yeah. Right.
And they're like, if my cousin, my little cousin, her name is Shekinah, right? Okay, yeah. But if I were to call her Shekinah, she'd be like, it's Princess Shekinah, right? Because the children are princes and princesses. Wow. So you have this built in where you 100%. Speak to them as royalty. 100%. So if you believe that you're amongst royalty, you act different.
Absolutely.
Right? So then if you're always around royalty, then you're just going to act different. And this is a system. Basically, the system of mindfulness, as you speak of, is what they're teaching just through their lifestyle. And it's really up to us, up to myself to look at it and to put that more tactical approach to it, as opposed to just being like, oh, it's just some spirituality.
Right, like, wishy-washy, whatever.
It's just creating that pause, or it's just creating that system.
That's crazy, because I mean, that's one of the biggest issues with poverty, is that we all loop this back in, but we believe we're second-class citizens, right? We're like, oh no, like that's them, this is us, which creates polarity, which creates isolation, which creates all these negative things, right? And that's because a lot of the time we grow up thinking, again, like I'm from the third world. Yeah. I'm Haitian, I'm Indian, or like I'm Vietnamese, or whatever it may be, and that you've imprisoned yourself in a way. Like your environment, you've adapted a mindset of your environment, which has imprisoned you, right? Yeah. And so I love that. Like I love that being like, nah, it's your birthright in a way. To like bring light and have that level of like, because being a prince or being a princess, that's not just being royalty, that's also like responsibility. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like exactly. That's everything you should teach kids. That's so beautiful. And I love your little example of like, it's princess.
Yeah, she'll check you, because she knows herself, right? She knows she's a princess.
So don't play me. Don't play me, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing. So I really want to get into you said there was a detox and how they kind of go through and use laxative and do a cleansing. Can you dive into that from like the nutrition standpoint of the retreat and what's going on there?
Yeah. So this is a product that he's created probably about 15, 16 years ago.
Okay.
And he was in med school and he was going to be a doctor, finish up med school, and was going to take that exam to get licensed. And he's like, no, like, I'm not going to take the oath and take the exam, because all that I've learned in university and med school is what my grandma used to tell me up in the village, up in the mountain. So then he's like, no, I got to bring it to what my origin is, because now I just have validation of all that we were taught growing up.
Right.
So, so he has the system and he created that whole system, and it's 6 bottles that we take. And but it starts off with the colon cleanse or the laxative.
Okay.
Because the colon feeds all your other organs, like your colon, your nutrients or toxins get absorbed into your bloodstream, into the liver as it's cleansing, the kidney, same thing. So what we do is first we detox and cleanse the colon, right? And then after that, clean colon, then we start to cleanse the rest of the physical structure, from the organ blood detox, the respiratory system, circulatory system, the blood regulator. And we go into all those different aspects, and it's just systematically detoxifying someone's body.
Beautiful.
As like a complex system. Like, because when you think of a juice cleanse, like, oh yeah, juice, like just start drinking juice and you're cleansed. It's like, no, like it doesn't work like that.
Not how it works, my friend.
You know, so it's a little bit more of a systematized detox cleanse.
Crazy.
And along with that, we have the food that we eat on the retreat that is coming from the land and is also in line with allowing you to feel at your best and keeping light. No
heavy foods. Like they even call mangoes like hot foods, you know, like it's very, I love mangoes so much, man. I was so mad when I heard that. So what when you say keeping light, you know, I wonder all the time. So obviously it's natural foods, obviously it's from the ground, obviously if it's meat or whatever, it's raised or if it's farmed, you know, what are those foods? How do they think about, you know, specifically there in that region? How do they think about, like, we have this really weird concept of like 3 meals a day, and you eat here and here, and your body never really gets a chance to rest and all this different type of stuff, and we'll go into it. But how do they think about like feeding structure? What type of foods are you eating? Like, this stuff is so interesting.
Well, for the main thing, it's plant-based.
Right.
So no flesh, no meat, no cheese, dairy, any of that, right? And then beyond that is local. So eating the food that's around you in your area, and preferably like you grow it yourself. Like that's something that I am going for, is like being able to grow more of my food. So that's like sort of the basics. And then the structure around how they eat is basically dinner is a soup, like a liquid soup.
Okay.
So blended, really light, or like something really light, Seamoss porridge, something light.
Gotcha.
Lunch is more of what we would have as a dinner, where you get your beans, your rice, your salad, you know, all of that. And then breakfast is light again, like Seamoss porridge.
Got it.
Like cocoa tea, which is my favorite.
Nice.
And so it's basically one solid meal a day or feast a day, and then 2 lighter around that.
Beautiful.
And then just mindful though. Like at the end of the day, the main thing is just mindful. So when you come to sit in front of the food, not just looking at your food as like calories, like, oh, does this fit my macros? You know, like none of that, like, oh, it fits my macros, you know? And what the focus is like, does this help me in tune, like line up my chakras? Like, is this feeding my heart? Is this feeding my mind? Like, how is this making me on more than just that physical level? And then also, how is it helping me on the physical? But also just having an intention and being able to sit in front of your food and just give thanks. You know, even if it's not the most ideal food that you want to be eating at that time, just give thanks for it. Food. You know, just be grateful.
It's food, my friend.
And I think that's the main aspect of it. It's just gratitude and just showing love. Because you made the choice to be there, right? If you don't like it, then you could make a choice to go somewhere else. But while you're there, enjoy it.
Well,
like,
I mean,
joy.
be grateful for the choices that you make. I mean, regardless of the choices, that doesn't matter. Like it doesn't have meaning. You just assign meaning to it. So if you have the choice to assign the meaning. You know, it's going to make you happy and bring joy, right? I mean, there's like, eating is such a, like we live in such a gluttonous culture, you know, and it's crazy to see what it's ballooned to, pun intended, you know, and there's a practice when I look at my food, like for instance, I'm like, honestly, on a little bit of a lighter level, I just look at the food in front of me and I go, is this adding or subtracting? You know, like, and that's like as simple as it gets for me. And like, you can intuitively know, you know, like I'm not an MD, but I can intuitively know with the food in front of me, is this adding or subtracting, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't, a lot of times, like your intuition is right. Trust your gut. Like your gut's got neurons in it, bro. Like it's got a brain of its own. Trust it, you know, and you can see what part. A lot of the times when I start thinking with my brain about food, you know, like my carb addiction or my sugar addiction will start coming, and I go, no, like think with your belly, you know, in a real way, because that it knows in this weird intuitive way that I don't think we really understand yet. And back to your point about the gratitude practice, like, man, food is, you know, probably the second most essential thing to life behind water, right? And yet we're just so far disconnected from it. We take it for granted constantly. So like, I think a lot of people are like, well, I want to be grateful for the world around me. It's like, start with your food, man. Start with your water, you know, like I got a leader right here. Like I'm big time right now. You know what I'm saying? So like, that's super important. From a spiritual, I know I'm spending a lot of time on this, but I'm really interested from like a spiritual. So you got the language, you got the food. How do they interact? Can you talk to me about the Rastafarian like religion and specifically what was it, what he practiced specifically?
Bobo Shanti.
Bobo Shanti.
Yeah.
Gangster, bro.
Gangster.
I love it.
Yeah.
So like, what is that about? Because that seems like it's taken a lot of like mindfulness and holistic way of thinking, but to the max. I mean, what you're saying about, you know, cucumbers being a vine, like I understand that, you know, vines do hold on to things. Like a lot of vines are strangle vines. They kill trees and stuff. And I understand the energy that's around that, but that might seem really radical to a lot of people. Can you dive into that way of thinking a little bit?
Yeah. So one, I feel it's important to mention that it is radical.
Yeah.
Because they're a priest order. So you go from prince to prophet to priest, right? So not anyone just becomes a priest, you know? So if you're going in the priesthood, there are certain things that you just don't do. There's certain energies, there's certain standards that you have for yourself. So it's important to realize like it's extreme and it's not for everybody. I go there, I eat the mangoes. You know what I mean? I go there, I eat the mangoes, I eat the cucumbers because I have a certain philosophy for my life that I have to live by, that I have to go off of, and I can't look at them and follow, right? So a big thing about what we're doing and what they do is like, you gotta love yourself and know yourself and let that be the guide. So I would look at that as like kind of like the baseline of all that they do is self-love and knowledge of self and just showing that kind of love.
Yeah.
It's all the way back there.
Yeah. It's all the way back there. You wanna get it? Thanks, bro. I was about to text Kev. I was like looking around and shit. Nice. My guy. I was like, you were on a tangent too. I was like, this is gold. I wanted to interrupt him. It's ultimately what's for you. Yeah. And you have as a human, you have the responsibility to know yourself.
So it's that self-love and just knowing that and honoring that. But then they live off of the Bible. So what they eat is coming from the scriptures. They sing hymns.
Wow.
They like the way they dress is off the Bible. So they really live off the Bible, but it's not like they live off the Bible, but then they believe we're all gods. You know what I mean?
So when you say the Bible, you mean like New Testament, Old Testament? What are you talking about?
I'm pretty sure it's the Old Testament.
The Old Testament?
Yeah, I'm quite sure it's the Old Testament.
Wow.
But they live off the Bible. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
And they interpret it their own way, but those are the words that they utilize to guide a lot of what they do. So that's interesting. For me, that's
crazy.
Right? So then when you speak, he shares a lot about Bible stories with his teachings. And it's not to teach Christianity or to teach Rastafari, but it's just using a story, using an example. So they pull from the Bible as an example for a lot of the things. Yeah.
It's all commentary.
Yeah.
Like a lot of that is commentary. Like that's why this podcast exists, is to tell stories. That's the best way in which humans communicate. That's how we've evolved over tens of thousands of years, right? That's in our DNA. I love that. I don't know, agnostic. I don't know what the hell I am, man. I see the beauty in a lot of religions. I see the gift in a lot of religions, and I really like the analogy you said of just like using these things as examples. Use the story of David and Goliath as an example. Use the story of Joseph as an example. That's a beautiful thing to come off of, versus having this rigid way of thinking around, this is a set of rules and here are the sub rules and here are the bylaws of this religion. I don't know if that's the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
And I say I don't know in a true sense, because I don't know. But I suspect having a more open and mindful interpretation of it as that is probably the way to go. How do they think about the natural world around them? What's their interpretation of that in their relationship with nature?
That energy is the livity,
right?
Is like that energy that flows through all things.
Yeah.
So it's the honoring of the plants and honoring of the animals as they are divine beings. So for example, the one thing my cousin will mention is like don't look at the plant as if it's doing you a favor, or like you're doing it a favor by taking it.
Right.
It's doing you a favor by giving its life for you to consume it.
Right.
So looking at the plants, and when you pick plants, right? When we go harvest on our herbal tour, we'll take a plant and we'll say, oh, give thanks. You'll bless the plant and honor it for allowing you to take from it, and to blessing it. So when you do intake it, it becomes one with you, right? So it's a lot of honoring and a lot of love and intention, just like it would be with humans.
Right.
Same with plants, same with animals, same with just the earth and the rain, the fire, like the elements.
Yeah, because it's one. It's one.
Yeah, so it's potent.
That's crazy. That everyone heard Bob Marley say, one love, but I don't think people understand the depth of that. Like, for instance, like if it is truly one love, if it's one energy, if it's one spirit, if it's one earth, if it's one planet, if it's one species, one energy, if that is true, which the world around us will indicate it. And now science is starting to actually illuminate the fact that these things are actually all connected through, largely electricity and energy. So throughout all this, if we all are one, like, why don't we treat, even in our day-to-day lives here in Vancouver and our extremely privileged lives here in Vancouver, like for us even to do another favor to another human being, like regardless of what it is, whether it's picking up someone who dropped their phone, or whether it's, inviting someone in to your home for dinner or whatever, me helping you is the exact same as me helping me. It's literally, there is no difference. By me treating you better, I'm literally just treating myself better. And when you really start to extrapolate those two little words, one love, like really out into like a way of thinking and a way of living, and change your whole perspective on literally everything. The way you interact with material objects, non-material objects just changes. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time thinking about it.
It's wild. It's wild.
So, okay, I love it. So the retreats are crazy. Now,
I just wanted to touch on the one
go.
The one love.
One love.
It's interesting because we look at ourselves as privileged, right? But I have almost like a different outlook on that privilege, right? Because a scarcity mindset is a scarcity mindset. It doesn't matter where you are. Scarcity mindset is a scarcity mindset, right? And it's interesting because I lived in Colombia, in Bogota, not the best place to be, right? Oh, don't take the wrong turn.
Don't take the wrong bus or whatever. Yeah.
Like, you just don't walk there. It doesn't matter if you're with police, just don't walk there, right? And those people were so happy and they were so giving and so grateful, right? Yeah. And then Vancouver, not so much. So scarcity mindset is a scarcity mindset.
Regardless.
And that's why I was touching at the beginning, abundance now. Because I'm just seeing how it doesn't matter what we have in this life, if we're in that scarcity mindset, we're poor, we're in poverty. It doesn't matter. Like the more abundance that I got into my life in this past year, the more scarcity came into my life, and the more it exposed scarcity in people around me, you know, who were actually benefiting off of the abundance that I brought forward. But, you know, the scarcity mindset puts them into that poverty.
That's crazy. Did you you know Dave Chappelle? You a Dave Chappelle fan?
Yeah,
I'm a big Dave Chappelle fan. Like, he had a bit about being poor. Did you remember? Did you see that at all? I'm not gonna like not even try, but the premise of his bit was, you know, as a kid he was poor, you know, and he's like, you know, he's getting made fun of at school because he was poor and all this type of stuff, and he goes back to his dad and he's like, Dad, I hate being poor. Like, this sucks. Like, I want, you know, I want jeans that aren't ripped. Like, I want that food. I want those sneakers. Like, this sucks. And he's like, son, we are not poor. We are broke.
Yeah.
You know, poor is a state of mind.
Yes.
Broke just relates to your pocketbook. And that is like, a lot of people will never be financially rich because you are forever poor.
Yeah.
You know, like when we're born into poverty, and that's a state of mind that is like multi-generational, right? So that's a beautiful thing. And I think you can be poor in scarcity mindset, like as it relates to food, as it relates to money, as it relates to time. Like time is abundant, my friend. Time is motherfucking abundant, you know, and human connection is abundant, and all these things are abundant. But again, like it's societal conditioning over and over and over again. It's like really sad.
It's sad.
It's like really sad.
I had to have a conversation with one of my homies the other day.
Oh yeah.
Of just letting him know of like, it doesn't matter how hard, how difficult the situation gets.
Right.
We can never allow those difficulties to get in between us and get in between the relationships, because things are going to go up and down, but we cannot let those up and downs dictate how we interact with each other. And we have to stay in that abundance mindset, really and truly, you know?
That's the meaning of perseverance. You know, like, don't let a situation break you. You know, there's broken people in the world that remain broken. So, you know, healing that is beautiful, man. Yeah, paradigm is everything.
Big time.
It's crazy.
Big time.
It's I had a moment of revelation recently where I was like mad. This was funny. This is a very immature thing, but this was funny. I was just walking down the street and I realized, I was like, damn, Joss, you got happy before you got rich. And I was pissed. You know, I was like, what is all this shit?
Yeah.
You know, like what is all this narrative? I was like, oh it's all BS. I was like, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. You know, and I was like really mad about it for a while. I was like, I spent my whole life, you know, and then when you really do the work and you figure it out and you continue to go down the path and try to learn as much as you can about the world around you, you might just stumble upon the fact that happiness doesn't have a price tag, my man. You know, it's crazy shit.
Yeah,
it's crazy shit. Yeah, man. What the hell is this? Let's pivot. You're a basketball dude. Let's pivot. You know? What the heck is Irish Seamoss, my friend? This is some of the most radical stuff. People, whether it's like professional athletes or whether, you know, it's the guy down the block is cooking up some sea moss smoothies, porridge, stews. What is this stuff?
Yeah, it's a seaweed that comes out of the ocean, and I get mine from St. Lucia.
Right.
And what it is like, we know the benefits of a lot of seaweed. And even if you're talking about anything that comes out of the ocean, like as regards to fish, like when I was eating meat, I would look at fish as like a superior form, like so good for me. Like I had that feeling, right?
Right.
And same with seaweed. Like seaweed has a lot of amazing benefits for us. But the thing about seaweed is it tastes horrible. Like, you know what I mean? Like you don't want to put seaweed in smoothies. Like,
I know what you're saying.
Really and truly, right?
I know what you're saying.
So the thing about Irish Seamoss that I think is like the thing that makes it so blessed is it has like all those minerals from the ocean, all that goodness from the ocean, but it doesn't have that ocean taste.
Got it.
So then you're able to utilize it in different recipes, and it doesn't have the taste of the ocean. And it also affects the texture of what you're cooking. So it turns into a gel. And it's like the big thing is like, I don't even think of it right now because I'm so far removed from like popular like nutrition. What's that? Bone broth.
Bone broth,
Bone broth, right? And they're talking about gelatin and collagen. There you go.
Collagen, yeah.
So everyone's talking about collagen, right? Well, this is like the plant-based natural collagen because it has the minerals that are required for your physical to produce collagen. It has in there. And it's like collagen is like that gelatinous texture.
Gelatinous, what a word. Anyway.
So then it has that in it. So then like it's popular in the raw vegan community for making like different desserts and thickens different recipes. So
What's
it's
the
just
taste?
like,
What's it taste like?
it doesn't taste like anything.
Doesn't taste like anything?
No, it's so neutral.
Wow.
Flavored that
Wow.
like you can have it in like the sweetest dessert and you wouldn't think that there's like a bunch of seaweed in there, you know?
So is it like if I'm doing this and I'm like, all right, like is this fats? Is this carb? Is this fiber? Is this what is this? I never eat seaweed, so I don't know.
It's minerals.
It's minerals. It's
right?
minerals.
Yeah,
it's minerals.
so it's mainly minerals.
Got it.
So when we look at calories, the fats, carbohydrates, or proteins, those are more of like the building blocks of your body, or like the energy, right? The fuel, you could say. But then minerals are like the frame of the car.
Okay.
Like it's actually minerals are metal, like iron, you know, it's metal. So the minerals are what, you know, builds your bones, your hair, your skin. So it's full of minerals. So those things that not many people talk about, you need energy. Let's have more carbs or caffeine.
Yeah.
But then you don't realize you need like magnesium in order to produce any form of energy. So it's highlighting the importance of minerals. And then there's also a long chain polysaccharide, which
you lost me there, bro. I was on the same page and then you just lost me.
In like the simplest terms, is like a slow release energy.
Okay.
So it doesn't spike your energy like, yeah, let's go, like that hype, but it just allows you to feel satiated and full and energized for like a longer amount of time.
Right. So like a fat source energy, like a ketone or something like that. I don't know.
It's a carbohydrate.
It's a carbohydrate.
Yeah,
Okay,
but it's a
crazy.
long form, like a long version of it,
like,
so it takes a longer time.
Oats are a long release carbohydrate.
It's slow. It's like a little bit more complex.
More complex carb.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So then people have that for like they feel full for longer. You know what I mean? They just feel satisfied for longer. So it helps with a lot of people wanting to lose weight,
right?
Because it's not like holding back your appetite,
right?
Because you're actually getting a lot of the minerals that you need, but you just don't. You're not that hungry. You don't need because it gives you a lot, you know. So
and it's not. I mean, most things in our society that make us feel full are, you know, not the healthiest for us, right? You know, metabolic function is quintessential to life, like literally, like whether like everything that we die from, whether it's like heart disease or like diabetes or Alzheimer's or brain disease, whatever it is, like literally all stems from like the mitochondria and metabolic function is very simple. You know, like it's the keystone to like our entire body. Like take care of yourself, and you're like, oh, what are you doing? Like, I'm eating foods for my mitochondria. It's like, what? Like that's not a thing at all. So what within the Seamoss realm, you're the only person I ever heard talk about this, you know, until like maybe a year ago. I saw a couple NBA guys do it and stuff like that, and they started like posting and stuff. I'm not super tuned in on the social, so I might miss it and whatnot. But like, why is it's not popularized? Like you're the only one out here, you know? What's with that?
Well, it is getting more popular, as you said. Like a lot of different artists, even like Meek Mill was posting about Seamoss.
Meek Mill was on the Seamoss train. That was crazy.
He's like, I'm feeling so much smarter these days. Maybe it's the Seamoss. So like, it's definitely getting there. Like Kim Kardashian was posting about it, you know.
Oh, damn.
And so it's like, it's getting out there.
Crazy.
But like, it's still super niche and low key.
Right.
Why that is, I'm not sure, to be honest. Like, I don't know why, but I'm happy.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be in it at the time that I'm in it.
Yeah.
And to be like being like one of the originators of how it's being presented to market.
Amazing.
Yeah, because up until now, like if you were to try and buy Seamoss, it would be like you're buying from a dealer, like around the block, like super kind of sketchy, right? So like I'm coming into this industry and like people are so used to like buying off of sketchy people and sketchy websites.
And you're like, hey, what's going on? I got your Seamoss. What's going on? Blessings. What's up?
Bless.
Like, this guy's the best.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, it's I don't know why, but I'm happy.
So what does a bag like this cost? How much is this? Is this like, what does this cost?
That's about $30.
Okay, so solid. This is solid right here.
Yeah, $30. That'll last at least 6 weeks.
Okay.
If not more. And yeah, you'll soak that and it turns into a gel.
Okay, got it.
So that right there, if you put it in water, it's going to expand like 5 times.
Got it. So this is dried.
Yeah, that's dried.
Cool.
And it's just something I love about food is like, it's like, I don't really like to have the powders and pills too much.
Got it.
Just because it doesn't look alive to me. It doesn't look that good to me.
It's not alive, my friend.
You know? So then when I rehydrate the Seamoss, it feels good. I'm like, bringing it back to life.
100%. You can't bring, magnesium pills back to life. You can't bring vitamin D back to life. Like it's just not, it's not something. And it's been proven like you can't, if your body was not built to absorb nutrients from pills. Your body was built to absorb nutrients from foods. Yeah. Shocker. Like a lot of like modern science around nutrition is just like, yeah, you should really just grow it and eat it. And everyone's like, whoa, hold on. Like, what about the pesticides? Yeah. So with all that said, how do you think about food? How are you eating now? What's your, for those that don't know, maybe you can like give a little bit of background on your athletic story and how you came into thinking about health and wellness right now. But I ultimately want to lead up to like, cool, how are you fueling your body here and now today? Yeah.
Nice. So my whole upbringing, I was a basketball player.
Got it.
So when you look at, we ask like, who's Akeem? Akeem's a basketball player.
He's
like,
a hooper.
I am a hooper. Ball is life. Like it was all built in, right?
Calgary, right?
Yeah, in Calgary. Yeah. So I was a basketball player. Everything I did was to get me to become a better basketball player in all aspects of my life. So yeah, anything I did was trying to get me better basketball. And then it was successful, like I was successful at it. It was getting the benefits and all the positive feedback from the people around me and just society as a whole. Dope. So I kept going with it. And then I was in university. And
where's your university?
I went to UBC.
Oh, no way. Crazy.
Yeah. So like in my first week of going to UBC, I was the rookie. I was the only rookie. So I was the one that they got to go do everything. So I came to practice late because I had to go to this one event. And I just warmed up really quickly and got on the court. And then I hurt my knee, right? So then I was out. Basically for the next 3 years, I was out.
Crazy.
Right? I couldn't play for more than a couple days straight.
So what happened to your knee?
It was tendinopathy, right?
Shit,
but tendinitis is like usually like a chronic injury, right? But mine was chronic. I had it, but then I got a moment of like acute, right? So then it was hectic.
Crazy.
But so those next 3 years, I basically had to like question a lot about what I believed was valuable, like everything, okay, I can't play basketball now. Yeah. Who am I?
Yeah. Identity dissolution. Yeah. Crazy.
So then throughout that process, I started to awaken more to like my power as an individual and just as a human, and still not thinking about food, none of that kind of stuff. And then I went to transferred schools after those 3 years, and the university I went to, my basketball coach was like pasta and meat sauce. Like before every game, pasta and meat sauce, right? Every game I was sick. Yeah. Like every game without fail, halftime I was heavy, end of the game I was like about to throw up. Yeah. Right? So then it had me questioning things and like, hey, I'm supposed to be like the top athlete. Yeah. We're supposed to be the top athletes in the country, but like I can't even wake up feeling good.
I feel terrible.
I feel horrible. Yeah. And then at that time, like just had a hard time putting on my socks.
What year was this? What year was this?
That was my 4th year.
Okay. So like 20 what?
21, 22.
Okay, cool. Got it.
And then so I was like just feeling terrible. And then started to do my research looking into it. And then over time, I like saw hemp seeds. Oh, this is a protein. This is like something that can provide me with these nutrients. And I tried it. It's like, wow, like made me feel full. Like that was like my only marker of like, oh, I feel full.
Yeah,
like,
this is good. This is good. Yeah.
And this protein good.
Yeah.
Right. So that was the first thing that opened my eyes to alternative foods, right?
Hemp seeds alternative. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Sure.
Hemp seeds, you know?
Hey, it's legit. Yeah.
Yes. Hemp seeds was the main thing.
Yeah.
And then during that time as well, I picked up a book, and it was basically a book about it was called Inner Excellence, and it was about high performance sports and leadership. But it was like the mindfulness perspective.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was super interesting, but it had me doing like certain things of like sitting down and breathing, and then imagining myself floating up, and then seeing myself sitting down, and seeing my house, and then seeing, it was like super, like, I was like,
out there,
you know,
out there. Yeah.
But then it really benefited me on the basketball court, and it opened my eyes up, started doing meditation and just daily meditations. And then I just like started to, okay, let me just see how this food makes me feel. And then this food.
Experimentation.
Yeah, experimenting. And then just from there, I was like, wow, like I lived so much in the box my whole life, right? In the gym, like even in the box.
I got you.
Like,
in the box of a gym.
I was so much in the box. My mind was in a box, right? So then after I got awakened to hemp seeds and like meditation and Alan Watts and Buddhism, then I started to just look at my life and look at the different areas of my life and ask myself, like, is this in line with where I want to be? Is this in line with me becoming the greatest version of myself? And I basically just looked and analyzed all the different areas of my life. And something I continually do is like, is this in line with my goals, my beliefs, and visions of where I want to be? And then that shaped my whole path. And then that's my current outlook. That's how I still look at it. Yeah.
That's beautiful, man. Like maybe speak a little bit to, there's a big activation that happens somewhere within maybe like your first, like, I'm going to say 50 meditations, you know, like there's a big like, I don't know where it is. Like it's somewhere in there where you just like, you have a moment of clarity and you're like, oh, Tim Ferriss puts it really well. And he's like, it's like being in the washing machine versus stepping outside of the washing machine and looking at the washing machine. And like for a basketball player where you need to process, you know, an incredible amount of stimuli very, very quickly in order to be successful and make decisions very rapidly, slowing the game down is paramount, especially for young players. And most players are young. What happened for you when you started to kind of get into that realm, adopt a meditation practice? What actually happened? What the actual benefits?
Yeah, so my first meditation, I remember like it was yesterday. Like I Googled meditation.
For sure.
And it was like some meditation video. And it was a 5-minute meditation.
YouTube's beautiful.
And beautiful. So I just sat there and I was doing my breathing. And then about a couple minutes into the meditation, my breath was really slow, right? And then it was like there was a pause between my inhale and my exhale. And I was like, I had the dialogue of like, this is weird. Like, you know, like, is this what's supposed to be happening? And then they mentioned that in the video of like, you'll notice a space in between your breath. I was like, oh, I'm doing it, you know? And it really like, that was like, so I felt like first meditation, I was in it.
Really dope.
I was tuned in and I know this is the thing.
Wow.
Like I'm best. I'm so good at it, you know? Because I felt it from that very first time, right?
That's impressive. That's impressive, man.
Yeah. So then what I would do is I would meditate in the hallways of school, and I'd be like in the hallway, classmates are walking by, and I would just be sitting there and I could just feel so present, so quiet and so still. I was like, wow, this is amazing. You know, this is like my first weeks of meditating, right? And then I was in basketball practice and I'm just there. And this is meditation coupled with the mindset of the like forgetting what happened and staying in the present moment. So if I miss a shot, you know, coming to the present. And then I would be the one who would get mad at myself for missing a shot. Oh, why'd you do that?
Like
or why'd you miss that?
Would.
You know? So then with the meditation, it allowed me to present, be like, I'm 100%, you know, like 100%. This is my best shot and this is it. Everything is
every
perfect
shot's
right
in.
now.
Every shot's in.
you know, so I was able to leave this this mindset of judging myself before I even do anything and be present. And that was something that like tangibly on the free throw line, I was there and I just look and I'd be like just looking at the rim and just seeing the rim and just like,
yeah,
you know, and just just looking at my coach, like yelling and making a fool out of himself and just looking at him and just be like you're like in my head, I'm like, you don't even have an idea. Like you're just causing so much stress for yourself. Like you're not getting any reaction out of me. Like
nothing.
You know what I mean?
Like you can't judge me right now. You don't understand. Yeah. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's crazy. Like for instance, Dwight Howard, right? Dwight Howard, notorious. If you don't know basketball, Dwight Howard is notoriously bad free throw shooter. Notoriously good big man, all-star, all this stuff, right? And he shoots, I don't know, 50% from the line or whatever, which is like, you know, good. And Steve Nash shooting 91% from the line, right? And why do you think he can't shoot free throws? Is it because he doesn't practice free throws? No, that man shoots free throws all day long. It's something going on up here, right? Yeah. Like there's a mental mastery that hasn't been mastered yet, and it's no accident that the best free throw shooters and the most focused players, the calmest players, you know, even if they do draw on like a dark energy, like a Kobe or whatever, like they're still focused and they're acute in their energy in ways that a lot of people don't understand, man. Good for you for like getting into the first time. For me, I'm a really energetic person. I like to go. You know, I'm a bull in a china shop and all this type of stuff. And some like mentors in my life were like, listen, shut up, sit down. Listen, here's some education on this because I know you need to know how things work before you do them. And then you need to adopt this practice. And I probably did. It was probably, I say 50 because it was probably 50 sessions, like sessions anywhere from like 5 to 10 minutes. And I don't do like music or anything like that. Like it's just complete silence for me. And I hated everyone, man. Everyone I was in my head. I was just like, could not, they say like count how many breaths that you can do, full inhale, full exhalation without getting distracted. Yeah. And if you do, it's all good, non-judgment, just come back to the breath. And I can never get the non-judgment part down. You know? And so I despised meditation for like maybe a year. Legit a year. And that was maybe like 5 years ago now. And like we're all good now, we're all blessed now. But it's just like that adaptation is really hard because I'm coming from like a construct and a paradigm of like, you do things wrong, that's bad. You miss a shot, that's bad. You know, you fuck up, it's bad. Versus like, listen, every failure is a blessing, as we now know, you know, and every experience, regardless of it, whether it's a failure or a success, is a blessing in that. And so it's like, now looking back on those 50 failed sessions, those failed air quotes sessions, I light up, you know, like I got a big smile on my face right now. That's what it's the learning experience is the most beautiful experience ever. And that's probably a lot of what you loved as a basketball player, man, is that learning experience, you know? Okay, cool. So let's go back. Injury happens. You're now thinking about health and wellness in a different way. You're kind of looking around at the environment around you, and you're like, "Hey, wait, like, hold on, this isn't aligning. This isn't making sense. This isn't computing with what I feel is right, what I'm now reading is right, and all this stuff." So now you're at this point. You've adopted a meditation practice. You're starting to get aware of foods. What happens now? What happens to the knee? What happens to the basketball career? You're probably 4 or 5 years into college at this point. What happens? Like that's the big question mark, right?
A big turn happened. So what happened in the short term was with the basketball career, it was my best year. Like I remember coaches that used to coach against me back in the day, they're on the sideline and I hit a shot. They'd be like, "Get up on him, he's a shooter." And I'm like, "Oh, I've never had that happen to me before."
Hey coach, I'm a shooter.
I was like, "I'm done. I can retire now." Like I just never heard that. That's all I need, you know? So that, so on the court, it was super amazing on that level, but I wasn't the same person that coaches loved, in the sense of I wasn't that blind follower that would relay what the coach was saying to the younger players because I was the captain. Yeah. So I was no longer allowing myself to be that, just like the translator for the coach.
Echo chamber or whatever.
I was had no interest in that anymore.
Right.
So we had conflicts with me and the coaching staff because if some player did something poorly and the coach would get mad at him, right? I would go up to the player after and be like, yo, it's all good. You know what I mean? Like, just stay focused and next, you know? And he would come up to me after that and be like, don't go behind my back. And blah, blah, blah. You know? So there was like that kind of conflict on the court. And then off the court, as I was in Kamloops, it was a new city for me, new town. And my friend that was there the year before, that was my second year in Kamloops. My friend that was there the year before left. And he was one that we were kind of on a similar journey together. He left. So basically what my days consisted of was going to practice, going to class, and coming home and reading, coming home and meditating, coming home, going into my room and journaling. That was like my life. So at that moment of time, I didn't have many conversations with people who were outside of my role as the basketball captain, right? So fast forward 4 months, I read my first book, you know, I read my first book and I was like doing a lot with, I felt of like getting to know and love myself. But I went back to Richmond, Vancouver, and I was speaking with our friend Spencer's mother,
yes.
right?
Okay, yeah.
And she's really funny, like really funny jokes, right? And I usually could joke with her, but I found I couldn't joke with her anymore.
Oh man,
I was like, I lost like my charisma, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, what happened? And then I was like, yo, I just took it too far. I went too far inside that I was losing my ability to communicate with just like people in general. So it was then that I decided I'm not going to play basketball anymore because I need to put myself in a scenario that's going to be stimulating and exciting for me. So I decided to finish my degree, but do it abroad.
Wow.
So I went on exchange program abroad.
Wow.
And I wanted to learn a new language because at this time I was still understanding the importance of language, but I just felt like English was hindering me, was slowing me down because I had so many associations with words that I wasn't allowing myself to just be. So I was like, you need to go learn Spanish.
Damn,
right?
Bro.
So I went to Colombia after that and I didn't tell anyone until I got accepted. I didn't tell anyone, not my mother, not a teammate, not a coach.
Nobody.
But then the season was done and I'm like, hey, y'all, I'm going to Colombia.
Wow.
And with that, also so interesting is there was this one guy. His name was Ivan. He's a legend guru for me that I wish I could see him today. He just disappeared on me. Like,
no.
Yeah, like, I don't know where he went. He's just gone. No one knows where he was, right? But this mysterious Russian guy who I'd go to my friend's house and he would just be like sleeping on the floor in his living room. And I'm like, who is this guy? He's like 28 at the time. Like, we're younger. I'm like, he doesn't go to school. I'm like, what are you doing? Right? But then as I learned more about mindfulness and meditation and stuff, I was seeing like this guy was like a Zen master, you know?
Right.
So I started to ask him more questions, and then he ended up being practicing Wing Chun, which is like, I think Bruce Lee did that that martial arts. So he taught me a lot about utilizing my body and utilizing weight and how to push and pull, and strength isn't so much about brute strength but utilizing energy. And then he taught me a lot about meditation, and then he brought perspectives to my mind of like, hey, you're a human, you should be able to squat. Like, why can't you squat?
You can squat?
No, I couldn't squat. Like, I couldn't bring my butt below my knees.
Oh my gosh.
With my heel on the ground, right? It's surprising. Probably on most basketball teams, high school and university, probably like only five people could probably squat. You know? It's like from my experience.
Crazy.
It's more common than we think. But I couldn't do that. So he brought more of these perspectives to me and showed me exercises that are more flow and movement and fluidity.
Right.
So that I was like, I felt amazing. Like my physical, I felt better than ever. Food was still not there yet. I was still eating same basically.
Right.
But mindset, mindfulness, I was, like expanded exponentially. And with my knee, my knee doesn't hurt no more.
Damn.
I am not sore waking up. I felt so much better. So I continued with that for the next couple of years. Like that became my job, really.
Crazy. So that's wild. So look, like the squat thing is crazy. Like the squat is such a fundamental indicator of health, right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of spinal health, hip health, and you know, just like your abdominal area, all of that stuff, and which is again like paramount to essentially all functionality of the body. You know, like the squat is a great indicator of that. Like one of my goals is like I want to be able to I stole this from Dr. Peter Attia. Do you know who that is? Yeah, I love Dr. Peter Attia and his whole thoughts on longevity and all that stuff. And one of his goals is he wants to be able to goblet squat, which is like a deep squat. If you don't know, at 30 pounds when he's 100. You know, like 30 pounds is not a lot of weight, you know, if you don't know, you could do that very easily, but to do it with the right mechanics so that you can train using the right mechanics to do that when you're 100. And the reason why that's significant is because a baby child is typically 30 pounds. And so he wants to be able to interact with his grandchildren, great-grandchildren, whatever it may be when he's 100. But that using that marker, that deep squat, like a goblet squat's like a ass to ankle squat, right? And so using that marker as a fundamental marker of health, I was like, that's it. That's beautiful. I love that. So within that context, why can most people not squat? Because I see it a lot, man. What was with that? How did you fix it?
Just by trying. Like,
just getting my ass down there.
It was funny because like the Ivan, the guru, he would be like squat, like, and we just be there in the park and just like squat as long as you can. So we just be in the park and he just tell me to squat and I'd be like still pretty high, and just slowly got better and then learned other tactics to loosen up the hips and ankles and different things like that.
Crazy.
But that was the basic of that. But it's just simply like we're sitting in chairs now. We
Literally.
don't need to have our hips go below our knees. Our physical structure, it doesn't do anything it doesn't need to. Why? So it just adapts to what we give it.
Right.
So it's like, hey, you haven't gone hips below your knees for 20 years now. We should probably just stop, you know? And then that's how it happens, you know? And we just don't need to. So why do it, you know?
Crazy. That's wild. So how do you, you know, so now you're training, you've been training for a minute now. How do you think about movement? What's your school of thought as it pertains to movement? Because, you know, if you're not maybe familiar with the personal training world or just the training world, the rehabilitation world, the mobility world, or just all of that, you know, there's many different schools of thought in terms of how you should move, the fluidity in which you should move, the frequency in which you should move, how the nature of your movement patterns, like, you know, I can get, you know, so deep into it, but how do you think about movement?
I look at it of just get a balanced diet of movements.
Word.
You know,
Word.
Just get a balanced diet. Like food is medicine, movement is medicine. So feed your body the movements that it needs to feel good. Right. So we know that we were meant to be sitting down at some point in the squat. So build that into your day. And I'm not so much of an exercise guy. I'm a movement guy. So if you can, like, don't have a couch and sit on the floor, you know, get floor pillows. I'm like thinking of movement as integrating movement into your lifestyle. So you're at the corner waiting for a red light, just sit in your squat. You have some moments while the tea is boiling, like touch your toes.
For sure.
And just like building movement into your life. And currently my movement practice is really simple. Like it's the most minimal and like basic that it's ever been.
Okay.
And it's not going to be like this for long. Right. But currently it's just give my body every morning and every night, put it through full range of motion.
Okay.
So move my neck, my shoulders, my hips, my knees, my ankles, and just give it the full range of motion twice a day.
Dude, you're mad fluid just right there, man. I can see. I was like, yo, you're. I was like, how are we moving like that so easily? I was like, what the heck is going on there?
Yeah,
that's awesome, man. Like I think we had this woman named Carmel Rodriguez on the pod like 40 episodes ago, and her whole thing is like she's a mom and she's like get it where you can get it, you know. And like I'm making food, I'm making lunches, I'm stretching, I got my leg up on the counter, whatever it may be. Like I'm making sure if I have to pick stuff up, I got to pick clothes up off the floor, don't bend with my back, I always squat down and grab it, you know, like whatever it may be, constantly be stretching, constantly be moving. And like her whole thing is like it has to be integrated into your life, and it has to be fun. Yeah. Like if it's not, like it has to be fun. That's something I learned in 2019 too. It's just like filter with fun, man. Like if it doesn't feel fun, like even the most mundane things, like they can have elements of fun to them, and you can have that through it. Like I think movement is ultimately fun. Like if you look at humans, like historically, why do we move? We move to do everything, but like we move to hunt. And like a lot of movement was dance, man. Like a lot of movement was dance. That's pure joy. And like movement and pure joy. When any average person, when do you get the best workouts? You probably get the best workouts when you're playing a sport you love. Yeah. Like I don't know about you, but like if I go on a treadmill for 30 minutes versus if I play basketball for 30 minutes, I'm getting a way better sweat in when I'm playing basketball. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I mean. I think when it comes to overall health, like I couldn't agree more. Movement is medicine, food is medicine, sleep is medicine, you know, air is medicine, breathing is medicine. You know, there's a lot of boxes you have to check before you even look at other medicines. I'm interested. We live in a society, a time where things like anxiety and a lot of people are very unhealthy, you know, and that's an issue for our healthcare system, for the quality of life as humans. When you're in a negative space or when your body is unhealthy or for whatever reason, what's your checklist? How do you think about that problem? Like, I know you're human like anyone else, and you know you're going to encounter health problems or you know mental problems or whatever it is. How do you even attack that? How do you think about those things?
Poet. So well, first related to what we were just speaking about having movement a part of your life, right? And then we could kind of fit movement into like the nooks and crannies of our life, and we could do it that way. But we could also flip it around, and we could use movement as the impact maker in your life, right? So if you're feeling like, for me, a big thing for 2019 is just to get past that doubt that I have in myself, right? Get past the doubt, right? I've been thinking about this for 5 years and I'm still doubting, like, it's not working. Like, what do I do, right? So then I'm using movement as a way to get past the doubt. Okay. Right? So how? Pick something that is challenging but doable and commit to that. Okay. So for me, that was 100 pull-ups a day. Yeah, that's tough. 2,000 pull-ups a month. Okay. Right? Yeah. No so weekends. 5 days a week. Yeah, so that's like every weekday. Yeah. Right? Yeah, every weekday, 100 pull-ups a day, right? And just do it. Just get it done. Make it happen, right? And that's something that I utilize to get past the doubt and the fear and the anxiety of like, I don't know if I can do it, by just like giving myself a task every day and engaging my physical body to make that happen. So every day, 1, 2, you know, I got to 50 and I'm like telling myself like, don't do it, you know, like you don't even need to do it anymore. No one's gonna know, no one's gonna, but to tell myself that I'm not doing this for the 100, this is to rearrange and to recreate neural pathways and to create new neural pathways in my brain, right? So utilizing movement to create new ways of thinking. So if I'm anxious, right? If I'm anxious, as I have been, right? If I have that anxiety, it's like for me is the doubt, to challenge myself and move through that doubt. So whenever I do get that, I move through it and then I no longer stay in it, right? So as I'm done, I know, okay, I did that. I did that. And I can continue to do it if I want. And I'm going to continue to do it, right? So utilizing momentum. I'm like so big on momentum. And with that is like not to go from anxious and depressed to excited and like whatever elated, you know? Yeah, elated, but like to go from like anxious and depressed to, oh, now I just know that I'm anxious and depressed. Or, now I'm just like, 1 minute I'm not anxious and depressed of the day. And like the next day, like 2 minutes I'm not. So for me, I give myself a lot of leeway and I give myself a lot of forgiveness through my journey, where I may spend like a lot of my day in bed, just like, like not motivated to do anything. Like, why aren't I there yet? Right. And I don't get mad at myself for doing that. I'm like, you're here. Like, this is how you are right now.
Yeah.
And do the best that you can in those moments. So in those moments, I'm at home. I'm not doing much. What can I do that's not going to like be too much? I'm going to read or listen to podcasts. I'm going to watch YouTube videos that are going to be educational, or I'm going to do stretching and movement at home. Right. Yeah. So I just meet myself where I'm at. So wherever you are, whatever you're going through, meet yourself where you're at and just take it one step, one little bit at a time. And something like movement is so powerful because you're engaging your physical, where it's like you feel it, you see it. And like I say, we're too smart for our own good. Like our brain, like we think way too much and we're way too smart. So like when we need to dumb it down, we need to dumb it down. We need to simplify it and get out of this thinking mind and getting to more of like the instincts and action. Yeah. And when it's just moving, you're moving. You don't have to think. You could say, I'm not running while you're running. And it's like, you're running.
You're running. You're running, bro.
You know what I mean? Yeah, so like you could say, I can't do it. Right. But I'm like, you got up and you did pull-ups. Yeah. Right. So then rearranging, my body is talking and I'm creating those neural pathways through the physical action and movement. So that's one of the ways I look at movement, how I look at dealing with those times of my life where I'm not feeling too good in my physical body. If I'm not feeling too good, I meet it where it's at. And then I also like, I'm not afraid to look at like, hey, you screwed it up. like you messed that up. Yeah. You know what I mean? If I get a zit,
what's like, going on?
I ate some chocolate. I know it's like you ate poorly. Yeah. So I'm not gonna be like, oh, where's this zit? Oh, why do I have a zit? Yeah. Oh, I'm just like, you ate that chocolate, man. It was good, though. It was good, Like, I'll eat it next time again, too. You know what I mean? And just like to be all right with yourself and knowing that you caused whatever it is that's happening. And the quicker that you can come to that acceptance and the quicker you can come to that and forgive yourself, like, I did. And I have the ability to come out of it as well. Then the quicker you're going to be able to move through it and to start creating a new life, really.
Yeah. It's like, I ate that chocolate or I binged on that or whatever. Like, now I'm here and now watch me not be here. And it's just as good, like it's all good. There's so much healing that happens in movement, man. Like, I got into like Kundalini yoga pretty deep, like end of 2018, 2019. And, cause I'm someone who like, I had a messed up little childhood and I was like, I had a lot of trauma to work through and all stuff. And I did the vocal work and I tried to work on my relationships and all this stuff and therapy and all this stuff. And in 2018, 2019, I'm like, I'm good. I was like, this is it, like I'm good. Like, and I got really deep into like my physical practices and my training and stuff like that. I was running a long time. I was like, let's go, And then I had someone reach out to me and like, hey, have you tried Kundalini yoga? And I'm like, nope. But, it's mixed with this spiritual with the physical, with the breathing, like sounds like something to try. Yeah. And I had like some of the most painful times, man. Like I didn't know the way I figured out that the way I keep my shit is in my body, like whether that's, through like my what's called, fascicle lines or whatever, or, just through like, specific points in the body where, for those that don't know, in Kundalini Yoga, you isolate one point in the body, you synchronize the movement and the breath, and you work through whatever's in that muscle. And you'll get to points where like, I'll just cry, like an ugly cry too, but I'm still in the movement. Yeah. And you just got to stay in the movement and continue to go because the movement's how you actually get through it. It's how you process it, right? Yeah. And that's like, if I'm feeling any type of emotional way, I'm a highly physical person, but if I'm feeling any type of emotional way, I'm like, let's just go to movement. Let's go figure it out there.
Yeah.
Turn the brain off, figure it out there, and then let's come back to it, and then we can think.
Yeah.
Because right now you can't think.
Yeah.
And even if I'm trying to make decisions, you know, in life, you're paid basically off the quality of the decisions you make, and that you can't make good decisions if you're not physically moving. So it's like, that's part of hygiene, you know, that's hygiene, right? And then the other thing that you mentioned as well was, excuse me, also at the same time moving through, you said you can use movement as the in the nooks and crannies, or you can use movement as like the main, meaning start there, right? That's kind of what I'm getting there, like start there. But sometimes it's really hard to start there, man. Like you seem like an abundant person, a positive person. You know, when you're in those mental ruts, you know, is it just default for you to be like, all right, go move? Or how do you get to that spot of getting out of it?
Yeah. Like I'm upbeat.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Vibrant and energizing, but I'm also one of the most laid back and chill people you probably ever met in your life.
For sure.
Like really and truly, in the sense of I don't have this like default program to move, you know? My default is lie in bed or lie in the grass and just lay there and chill.
Yeah.
You know? So I understand the difficulties of actually getting up and going to move, right? That's why I keep it simple. Like it's very, very easy to just lie in bed and hug your knees to your chest, for example, or just bring knees to one side and your upper body to the other side. Yeah. And just doing it little by little, right? But then also the other aspect is just make it fun. Yeah. Like just go dancing. Yeah. You know? Go dance. Like go play a sport with some friends. And like we know that we're going to be going through some difficulties in our life. Like it's just, you know it, right? So for example, when I wake up and before I rest and wake up, I move like in those two portions of my day because it's the anchors of my day. Nice. Right? So then if you're a job and Wednesdays is usually a tough day, meet some friends every Wednesday and go play basketball. Nice. Like build it into your life. Like don't have it to a point where you have to rely on the decisions in the present moment and just make those decisions ahead of time. Got it. I'm going to play basketball every Wednesday. I'm going to join a basketball league. Because Wednesday's tough, so I need that then. You know? You don't deny it as if, no, I'm fine. Like, I think that's the thing with most people is they just in denial. Oh, I'm fine. No, like, oh, I'm fine. Why would I need to do that? I'm good. Get over it. Like, and just plan that into your life. Like, take it easy, take it light. Like, just go to the basketball court with a friend and just like, don't even do anything hard. Like, remove all expectations that you have to sweat a lot. You have to get a workout and really just go and then see what happens. Like, go play, man. You know, just go. Go play. Yeah, go play. Like, that's one of the what's built into basketball, man. Like, you shoot a shot, you whether you miss or you make, you got to go run and go get that ball to go shoot another shot. Like, movement is just built into that sport, and it's impossible to stay, immobile in that. So like, for me, it's just like, I'll keep a ball in my car. And if I'm like, literally, if I'm feeling shitty or just, cause I can just, you tune into yourself and you're like, this is not the space I need to be in. I'll just, if I'm in a suit, I don't care. I'll grab that ball, go to any outdoor court in like just 5 minutes. That's going to cure anything. There's nothing that can't cure it. There's nothing that can't cure it. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. Okay, cool, Akeem. Like, listen, where do you want to direct people here, man? Where can I go get this Irie, man? Irish moss? Yes. That high-grade healing? That high-grade freaking healing. You can go to akeempierre.com. Cool. For that. And just check me out on YouTube. Yes. My YouTube channel, Akeem Pierre. And just tune into the vibes. Like, really and truly, if you resonate with what I was saying today or just with the vibe in general, then we know we just got to connect. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Sick. Of like, we all just got to connect and build together and work together. So if you vibe with it, let's build, come out of the corner and make yourself known. Yes. Yes. Come together, man. So in 2020,
what's your main focus? What are you working on? I know you got the retreats. I know you got the Seamoss. Like are you thinking about goals? What are you thinking about? Where's your energy being directed now?
Well, interesting. This is like the first year where, in a couple years, where I actually have like a goal that is quantitative, or it's like number based.
Okay,
or like physically.
You don't seem like a numbers based guy.
This is my first year where I was like, oh, I can actually set out to achieve something.
Right.
But previously was more of like, be consistent or dedicate yourself, stay committed.
Yeah.
But this year I'm focusing on just continuing what I built so far and allowing myself to shine and allowing myself to be great. So that's more retreats, that's more products and more content and being more open and sharing more consistently.
Dope.
That's becoming like making my system or my business into a system that's like a well-oiled machine.
Love it.
Where I feel really proud of how the system of my business is. That's really my main focus, is that like I want to have like a business guy, a operations person to come in and look at my business and be like, looks good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want marketing teams to come in and look, okay, awesome.
Right.
I want customer service to be like,
that's what's up.
So
Yeah.
I'm just working on getting my business to that level where I feel like it's well-oiled, smooth, and all different aspects.
Beautiful, man.
Yeah, working well.
That's beautiful. Hey, man, listen, best of luck. I look forward to watching you. I look forward to the Seamoss you've gifted. I appreciate you, brother. And let's. I want to see what these retreats are about, man. This is crazy. So, we got a link for that. Like, I just want to see. I want to learn. I'm excited, like what you're bringing to the table, man. I think the world needs more of it, my friend. So, thank you for coming on, and we'll link to everything in the show notes, man.
Definitely give thanks for the opportunity, give thanks for everyone listening, give thanks for the moment you're here listening this far for a reason. Don't deny it. Step up and step into your purpose.
I love it. Thank you, Akeem.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. That was an amazing conversation. If you want to connect with Akeem or you want to check out anything that we reference, go to our website at www.thinkspacepodcast.com/Akeem Pierre, and you can get everything there. Also, a little social shout out right now. Every week we find someone in our community that's just doing epic things. We give them a little shout out. So this week we want to shout out our brothers over at THC for opening, and we've seen the transformation and we've seen this positive move of entrepreneurship come through, and they've done it in the right way. They've done it in a healthy way, and they're uplifting their community. So we thank you. Thank you guys for turning into the podcast. If you guys want to hear more, make sure you hit subscribe so you get the opportunity to listen to another podcast. Thank you guys for checking this out, and I hope to hear from you soon.